Welcome to a new video, guys. Today I'll show you how to create a navigation bar the fastest possible way you could ever do it, and the most convenient way, in my opinion. Maybe there's different ways to do it, but that's how I like to do it anyways, and it's always worked perfectly fine for me. So as you can see, I already created a pretty basic website just to show you guys the whole process, nothing too fancy. So we have a hero section, we have a service or features section, testimonial section, and FAQ section. So the first step is going to be to create your navbar. So what I like to do is I like to create a component for my navbar. So I create a little frame, then I right click on it and then create component, and we'll call it navbar. We go into a component section. As you can see, turn purple. That means that we're in our component editing section. I'll adjust the size to 1200 width. For the logo, I'll just select Framer's logo for now because I don't have any other particular one. So just place whichever logo you have. If you have one for yourself, you can do that. Then you click on the plus sign on the layout to create a stack. That's it. And yeah, that's it for the first part. Now we're going to fit the content here. And now we're going to create the buttons. So for the buttons, instead of just inserting buttons separately, what I like to do is I create a little frame. I create another component. I call it button. Again, here it's a new component, and I will call this services for service section. Now this is obviously on a white background, so I'll change the color of my text to black. I'll fit the content as such. I will remove the fill because we have a white background on our website. And then what I will do is I will create a hover state. So for the hover state, I will increase the padding to maybe 12, just for the sake of this example. I will put black as a fill color. I will change the color of my text to white to make it visible. And I will add a radius of 20, just so that we have this little hover effect that you can see here. If someone hovers on the navbar buttons, they'll see this black kind of like fill pop up. So now that we have this, what I like to do, because you're going to have different buttons, so you've got to adjust the names of the button, but also the links, because we want to link them to different sections of our pages, right? So we're going to create variables, what they call in Framer. So variables is just, how do I explain this? It's just like a way of kind of like changing certain components and adjusting it to certain requirements, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to select our text first. Make sure that you select here at the top right the T, not the component itself. We're going to go on the text content. We click on the little plus sign. We create a variable, plain text. We call it, I don't know, title. Yeah, we can keep it a title. And we will select text area yes. That will allow us to insert text within our main components or navbar later on. So we do this for the name, but we also want to do this for the link, right? So we're going to select here link. We're going to click again on the plus sign, link to, create variable. And here we don't want a new tab to be opened by default. We want the scroll to be smooth because it just looks better. And then the style will be the same one as we have here, right? Because we have a hover state, so we don't need any underline or like any other fill or different color. Now, having done this, we can go back to our navbar. Here we have our button that we just created. We're going to set it to fit content. Then we're going to create in here a frame, and we're going to make it a layout, obviously. And then we're going to insert our text in here, like so. We're going to remove the fill, and then we're going to duplicate this with Command copy and then Command V. Command V, since we only have, we have 3 sections. We only need to do it 3 times in total. We're going to fit the content and fit, and then we're going to increase the gap between our elements. I like to do 16 usually. You can also do a bit more. Now, as you can see, we have our elements basically very close to each other. So the way you can separate them is by going to layout, distribute, and then space between. And you'll see that they will get separated. Now, in certain instances, you will also want to include, for example, a call to action button, right? So I have one here. Let me get this one. So I'm going to copy paste this into here. Perfect. So we have the CTA, we have the logo, and we have a navigation bar buttons. Now, if you look at it closely, you will see that our buttons are not perfectly centered, right? They're slightly to the left. The reason for that is because the width of our CTA is larger than the width of our logo. Now, how can we remedy this, right? This is something that when I first started out, I had some issues with, but I'll show you it's pretty easy. So you select your button, the stack, you go to size, width, click fixed, and you'll see it's 126 pixels, right? So you deselect fixed, you select fit content again, and you will add here a frame within which you'll place your logo, okay? So make sure it's a stack as well, so you click here on layout. Then we don't want our logo to be at the center, so we will select start to have it at the very extreme of our navbar. Then we'll remove the fill, and we will adjust the width to 126. And that way, if you look at it again, our navigation bar buttons are centered. Now the spacing on the left and on the right is the same, right? You can do that with anything. Make sure just to remove the fill so that you don't see the background color, right? And as you can see also, our hover buttons work perfectly. Now, as you can see, it says services everywhere now. And that's where the variables come in, right? So here, the way it's going to work is we're going to select services. So we have services. We don't need to change the first one, but the second one we'll have to change. So you select the button, as you can see here. And then here on the title, we will click testimonials. And for our last one, we will select FAQ, right? Now, as you can see, the name changed. Now, let's go back to our main section, to our main website, because here we will have, if you want to link a certain button to a certain section of your website, you're going to have to name your sections, right? And the way you're going to do this is you're going to select the whole section, as you can see here, with the blue borders, and you're going to go on the scroll section and name them. So you see name here, and you just name them for whatever they are. So I already did this. We have services here. You replicate the process for each section. It's the same one. Testimonials, FAQ. So I already did this. So we're going to go back into our navigation bar and we're going to link the buttons. So as you can see, we did the variable link before, and that allows us to just click here, add, home, and then services. And you replicate the process for your other buttons. Here we have testimonials, and here we have FAQ. Now, what I like to do as well, because there's no padding here on the left and the right, so I like to add maybe 24 pixels of padding, just so that it looks a bit better, right? So we're gonna fit the content here as well, and maybe also here, like so. Maybe I'll add some padding also on the bottom. I don't like it like this. We'll add some, or maybe less, 8. Okay, that's perfect. And now we're gonna insert our navigation bar at the very top of our website. Let me see how I can, let me get my head out here. And then let me get this here. Perfect. So now, as you can see, we have our navigation bar at the very top. Keep in mind, this is very simple. Obviously, you would have to make some more changes. The hover state works, and if we click, it redirects us to the specific section. Now, I don't know why it's lagging, but you get the point, right? So the point is that instead of just having to add each link separately or each button separately, you have all in one, and that makes the whole process much faster, right? So yeah, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed it, leave me a like, give me a comment. If you have any suggestions on how to improve it, obviously you can also comment. And yeah, have a great day.